Hello. I'm still trying to time up my pressing live on my desktop versus my phone. It doesn't line up, so therefore I froze. Hi, welcome back to my live stream. Today we are talking about living with cPTSD, i.e., me living with cPTSD and my experiences with that. We are talking about having low self-esteem. This is a talk that I've been wanting to have for a while now because for me, it's a big part of my cPTSD. And I've been saying we would talk about this. And then, like last week, my phone wasn't working and I was really sad because I couldn't stream. But, anyways, we're finally here. So it seems like a long time coming for me, even though it's not. So, hello and thank you again for joining. So, a symptom or something that can develop through PTSD/cPTSD is low self-esteem. Through shame, the emotion of shame. And I want to talk about the emotion of shame really quickly and differentiate it from guilt. The way that I know the difference between shame and guilt, the way that it's been explained to me, is that shame is put onto you by other people, society, your mom, someone, your teacher, someone at school, someone else. Guilt is an emotion that you feel because you did something wrong, and this is an internal reflection that you are having. When you feel guilty, it's because you are reflecting and you have emotions, you have confusion about something that you did, where you feel, oh, maybe I made a mistake, and then you feel bad. Shame are things that other people put onto you. So in that way, shame has been said to not be a helpful emotion, whereas other emotions that are considered like negative, like guilt, can be a very helpful functioning emotion, right? Because it helps you self-reflect and see, like, did you do something wrong? Because if you have that feeling, that's motivating you to check your behavior and look at your behaviors. Anger can be functional and effective if you use your anger to create positive changes or just neutral changes, things that aren't just attacking people violently, like organizing. If you want to organize for groups like Stop AAPI Hate or Black Lives Matter, that is a positive thing you can do with your anger. For sadness can be, oh, I need to maybe evaluate my life and see what's going on, because why am I sad, right? Quote unquote negative emotions, they're not negative. Emotions all usually have a function. Shame is other people putting that on you, putting their opinions, their feelings on you, and us internalizing that, which sucks. So that's why we're talking about low self-esteem. So I can only speak for myself. And in my low self-esteem, I think I have it because when I was younger, many things were said to me along the lines of I am incompetent. And obviously not that, because I'm a child. So, like, that's not exactly what's said to me, but more things like, why, no one helps me. That was thrown around the house a lot. Like, no one helps me. Like, you can't do your chores. I had chores taken away from me because I could not do them correctly. So, though some people might have seen that as, oh, you don't have to do chores, I took it as I'm not even good enough to do chores. I am worthless because I can't even help around the house because I can't do it right. So that is something that I internalized and I became like ashamed of. So for me, yeah, that was part of the trauma, like long childhood instances that prolonged where I was communicated that I wasn't good at stuff, that I was worthless, right? It doesn't have to be those exact words, but things were said to me that made me feel really worthless, like I couldn't do anything, like I was really weak, like I was just lacking. So I grew up that way. That's kind of like the emotions, that shame I took, then I internalized, and therefore just thought I was worthless. I grew up with this, right? And like bonus low self-esteem from like society and all that, right? I'm not skinny enough. I'm too dark. Oh, that was a bad one. I'm not Asian enough. I'm not American enough. I'm not whatever enough for whatever society and TV and all that stuff is saying. More things, right? And that's adding on to the fact that I already have low self-esteem. So here we are. Low self-esteem sucks. One, it just sucks. But two, it sucked for me because then when I went on to relationships, this is part of why for a really long time I was just basically like a yes person. I just went along with what my partner wanted because I thought the only way that I had any worth was to make someone else happy. And let me like backtrack back to childhood. Right? I couldn't do chores, I couldn't do all this stuff because I wasn't good enough. So a lot of my life came to be about like pleasing. Like I need to prove I'm worthy. I'm worthy if I make someone happy, right? By doing something right, doing what they want. My self-worth became tied to being able to do what someone else wanted from me. So there's the connection. So let's fast forward back to the future. Obviously, this can be really problematic when you're in a romantic relationship, and it was really problematic for me. Did I see this about myself? Not necessarily. I think I knew I was a people pleaser. I I probably had unconscious feelings about it, but I think very consciously, no. I think I thought the way that you were in a relationship and the way you made a relationship succeed and have someone love you is to make them happy by doing what they want, by fitting into things that they want, like into roles that they want you to fit. Because again, my self-worth was tied to making people happy, making other people happy. So therefore, I did a lot of crap that I don't know, like I didn't necessarily want to do. I wasn't necessarily I don't know. It's odd. Like, you kind of let your, when you're in that position, you kind of let your free will kind of be whatever and taken by the wind, and you don't really think about it. So I was an easy person to like pick on. I was an easy person to boss around, all of that stuff. Was I ever a shy, quiet kid because of these insecurities? Yes. Yes. I was very shy and quiet as a child. And actually, even to this day, if I get into situations where I'm with a bunch of people that I don't know, if it is not some sort of business setting, with a business setting, I can be a little better, or if I'm like teaching, if I'm in teaching mode and I am teaching something and I know no one else, probably be super fine. Representing someone like with a business or like who I work for, whatever, probably fine. If it's me, just like Trixi, like chilling out, like going to a new group, it gets super awkward. Like I'm still shy and quiet. And I think of this actually when I started taking Eskrima from Doce Pares, and I'm very shy. Like it's not awful. It's not awful because we have to partner up and stuff, and they always pair a newer person with an older person, so it's nice because you like automatically enter like a mentorship mode, and someone's taking care of you in that way that they're looking out for you, they're training for you. But I'm still super quiet and odd, and I feel super quiet and odd. But yes, as a child, I was quiet. I was quiet and I definitely had a lot of people take advantage of me when I was in kindergarten. There was this girl who basically made her own little, like her own little clique. And the function that I had in that clique was to hold sweaters. Like that was me in this friend group, was holding sweaters for this other girl. And I wasn't the only one too. There was another girl who held sweaters. There was definitely like a favorite in the group, and then like other people who didn't have to hold sweaters. But it's kind of like, it's not funny because it's like little kids mistreating other little kids. But it's kind of funny because maybe I don't know how else to deal with that. It's ridiculous, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, you're so nice, Mom. Thanks. Oh, okay. Sorry. The doctor's office keeps calling me, even though they're supposed to call me at 1. That was a lot of weird muffling up there. Anyways, going back to my point. Low self-esteem messed me up a lot when I was adult in those relationships. Do I have low self-esteem now? I do. I do. Am I a more confident person now? Actually, yes. Am I more outgoing? Yeah, I can be more outgoing. Is my low self-esteem real? Yes. And I've said this before on many streams and other things recently, because when I started therapy a couple months ago, we talked about it, and we talked about me having low self-esteem, aka low self-worth. And my therapist was like, yeah, you do have low self-esteem. And I felt so validated because like I'm like this, right? And I present like this, and a lot of people, like, they would never tell that I had any sort of mental illness. They would never tell that blah, 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 that I'm struggling or that I have low self-esteem. And I understand why. I really do understand why. The thing that was really validating about it was because it's just like, I know that's what's happening, and I'm not I'm not trying to get attention or anything. I'm just like trying to say, like, I do have low self-esteem. And this is why it makes sense to me. A lot of my worth and a lot of what I still struggle with today is having any sort of self-worth that is not tied to other people. So it's very hard for me, and this is what I'm working on in therapy right now. It's very hard for me to make decisions about my own life that don't have a motivation that is outside of me. AKA, also known as, no, that not AKA, let me explain. Let me explain. One of the ways that I actually feel good, or the big, no, it's okay. Let's just say, I can do the thoughtful beast and do all this advocacy work and share about myself because it's helping other people, because it's for other people, because I know other people struggle. I know other people struggle with cPTSD. I know a lot of people do, and people don't talk about it enough, which is why I'm doing the live stream. There is also a healing component to me for me to be able to talk about this. And I don't think that should be a bad thing, but for me, in my head, it comes off as a very narcissistic thing. Is it a personal thing? Yeah. Is it a little narcissistic? Maybe, but it's not horrible, like, it's not like I am a narcissist, but I can get really uncomfortable with thinking about doing what I'm doing because I'm like, oh, am I just talking about me? Like, is this just for me? And all that stuff. And it's hard for me to do anything and make any sort of decisions about my life that, again, don't have a component of helping other people. There you go. That was a good sum. I have a very hard time with that. Doing anything like doing anything. Like when I think about makeup and I like wearing makeup, a lot of the time I'm like, but if I wear makeup, is this like what am I saying to other people? Am I like advocating for feminism or is this really bad? Like and like little things like that little argument still goes through my head every day and it's really hard and sometimes I can make, I can shove it and be like, "No, I am doing the makeup for myself," but there is a lot of my head that still goes, "But what about like everyone else?" Like in in like most of my decisions. So it's very difficult and in that way my low self-esteem, that's how manifests it manifests in a lot of my decisions and it's very hard for me to choose things, especially when it's actually really important decisions about myself. It unfortunately is really hard for me to discern what I want versus what I think I should want because of the ideals that I want for society. Like, is that another way of saying I super overanalyze things? Yes, but it's another way of saying it with giving like context to what is happening. That is why I overanalyze things. I'm an overanalyzer. I'm also a Virgo, so that's in there. And if you're into horoscope, like super analytical, and I do have to watch that. So just because do I have low self-esteem, do I just like stop there and like resign to just have low self-esteem forever? No. I don't think that's helpful. Also, like living like this is not fun. Like living with low self-esteem is not fun. It's not. Because then I just worry about what people think all the time. Do I worry less? Yes, because I've been trying to work at this. I've been trying to boost my confidence by building different skills and trying to at least at the very least tie my self-worth to my work ethic, which is better than the other thing. But I think ultimately, and I do circle back to this a lot, and I do say it to people because I do believe it, like I want to have my self-worth just based on the fact that I'm a living human being, and that I am enough. We talk about that a lot, and that's what I struggle with a lot, like feeling enough. When I look at another person and I see another human being, it's easy for me to understand, like, you are enough. You're a human being. Of course, like, you deserve love. Of course, you deserve these things. Of course, you also like deserve to be held responsible of your bad actions. I always need to put that in there, which is true. Like we all deserve all the things that come with being a human, all the good and bad things. It's very hard for me to look at myself and see all the good things and want to accept them. And in my head, for myself, I go back and go, that's my mental illness. Like, that's what it is. That's how it's manifesting. And I have to be cognizant of it so that I can continue to try to change it. And it's so hard going back and adding that level of, shame and shaming having to be there. It's it's really hard to unhear. It's really hard to unhear or stop hearing those voices in your head from when you were young telling you, like you suck and that you're crappy and you're not whatever enough. And then from your adult to stop hearing them too. It's really hard. Shame is very strong. Oh, and in Asian cultures too. Holy crap. And I'm sure in other cultures as well. But like shame is a teaching tool. So that becomes like you get used to shame. You think that's normal. Like it becomes very internalized and you really do tie it to your own self-worth. And it's just it's there and it's frustrating because then I don't know. There's like ridiculous things I do. Like we were talking about this yesterday at dinner. How like if someone makes dinner for me with something I don't like, say cilantro, I will eat it. Like if it's already made, if they're making something and they ask me like, "Oh, is there anything?" I will tell them like, "Oh, I actually don't prefer cilantro." because I've gotten better. So that's my step up. Originally, I'd be like, no, you know, unless I'm allergic to something. But now, so my step up is that. But if someone makes something with something I don't like, and I'm not allergic to it, I will probably eat it and never complain. Because again, I'm trying, that's the only way I have self-worth, making someone else happy and fitting them into the thing. And that's not, it's weird because it's just like, that shouldn't be the same in my head. You know, I, the fact that like I get like the same feeling and same anxiety of just like, oh, I'm trying to prove my worth as a child, like, because if I can't do chores and stuff, then I really suck. Like, I shouldn't, that energy shouldn't be along with, I need to eat this food or this person won't like me. Like, that same intensity is there in my head, and it shouldn't be. And I don't want it to be. So again, things I have to work on. I think for me, it really, building my skills super works for me. Like learning different things, growing in different things, whether that's like strength training or that means I picked up Veil Poi on my YouTube. You can see it, it's right there. And learning how to be better at that, and being proud of the fact that I practice things. Like that's kind of how I build my self-worth, and that like has been helping because it's boosted my confidence. Hopefully it goes to my self-worth and I can attach it that way. And it obviously it's taking time, but I do think it's better. It's better than when I was little. So like this is a better life for me, and I will continue to grow and try to see why I'm acting in specific ways. Again, with cPTSD, it's super hard. Like when you have all that shame and internalized feelings of crap about yourself, like, you know, those neural pathways are like built. They're built and they're like solidified. They've been, what is it, like, you know, they've been formatted. Fortified. They've been fortified. Those pathways have been fortified of thinking that you're crappy. Fortified, super fortified pathways. And to undo those pathways and to build more neural pathways that are more about loving yourself and knowing you have self-worth, like it takes work, and it's really hard. It's really hard. It is really hard to retrain your brain, but it is possible. It's just, you're having to undo and unbuild and take away those pathways, and making sure you don't take them, even though they're the easier way in your head, because they're bigger and they're fortified. You have to literally choose the windy, weird, narrow path of self-love. And you have to keep choosing to take that until the path grows on the earth and gets bigger. And then eventually you can like put cement on it and stuff and stones and make it better. It's like that, and it feels like that, and it is tedious, but it definitely is possible. Having low self-esteem is not fun. I definitely think that there are things that you can do. For example, for me, going to therapy is really helpful with helping to understand why I am the way I am, and forgiving myself about it, because a lot of it has just is a lot of maladaptive coping mechanisms, right? Things that worked for me while I was a child to protect myself and to keep going at the time made sense, and they were the only things I knew how to do. Now that I'm adult and there are more options open for me, and I'm now not in the same place where I was being told that I was worthless or made to feel that I was worthless, that means I can do new things now. I can try new things. I can be better. And that's a good thing. And it's a hard thing to get out of how you were living for so many years. It is so hard, but it's so possible. And it is so much better. And it is just, in my opinion, in my very strong opinion, I just feel like it's a much better life to really try your best to undo all those things, and struggle with, you know, your brain fighting itself and trying to be kind to itself. Even though that's really tiring, I really do think that's a better life. This fight is better than you in your head just accepting that you're a piece of crap because people told you were, and now you just accept it. I really do think this battle and fight and struggle is way worth it and is a way better life than just this. Yeah. And that's where we're going to end today, because I think that's a good ending. And also, my doctor keeps calling me, even though it's supposed to call me past 1. So thank you for being here. Hello, self-esteem. It's real. To my friends who are struggling and understand what I'm talking about, I'm here. I understand. I get it. Let's just keep working on ourselves to be better. Oh, there's my alarm. So thank you. I will be streaming again next Tuesday for my Golden Goddess Affirmation Asian mental health talks that are inspired by them. If you want the cards, they're on my website, thoughtfulbeast.com. And I'm also selling journals on Amazon. Just search Golden Goddess Journals. Yeah. Until next time, like, create some happiness for yourself. Go eat a slice of pizza, or go on a run, or go take a nap. Something that makes you feel good and makes you feel at peace. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Oh, hello. I missed the close button on that. Okay, bye for